Hello everyone, I believe that we are live. I just need to quickly set up a new instance of OBS so that I can record my screen. Just give me a moment real quick. Probably should have done this before I started. Okay. Start recording. Alright. Oh, something went wrong. Are we live? I believe we are. No worries. Okay. So, in our last stream, we started animating our character with a little walk cycle. He does a little turn. Now, before we do any more animation, I think it's important to set up hand poses and mouth poses so we can lip sync them. It's going to take some time. But first, let's go to the action thing. Let's just save this. I'm not super familiar with the new action stuff that's going on here. I mean, I'm happy with that, yeah. Alright, now let's make a new action. Why did that? Oh no. It's okay. Let's make a new action. Why is it like that? What is the difference here? Hello, nice to have you on the stream. Glad you could join us. The slot identifies which subset of the action is considered to be for the starter block, and its name will be used for the final right slot when assigning an action. Okay, I'm just going to save a new version of the file, just so I don't lose anything, just in case. Make a new one, call this turnaround. I'm going to delete all the keyframes and reset everything. In fact, yeah, there we go. Okay, and now on frame 2, I suppose, hang on. I need to figure this out. Let me just, I usually don't have to do this, but I'm just going to quickly make a little mouth off to the side. So I need a rest pose, an M pose, F or V pose, some sort of or actually no, I need an E pose. And then an R. And then an ooh. And then a little ooh. And what else is there? L. I should have done that before. Make a duplicate. Do an L. Okay, that's all the things we need. So that goes all the way up to frame 8. So we need 9 frames. So on frame 9, I'm going to go to the next pose and insert keyframes. And then 9 frames later, wait, that's from 1 to 9. So that's actually 8 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, that looks terrible. No worries, I'm going to set that to constant interpolation so that it just flicks. Very nice. Now I need to create a mouth shape for each of these. Hello everyone, nice to have you here. I'm glad you could all join the stream. It's probably been about a week or maybe more since our last stream. Been rather busy. But hopefully we're going to finish this rig today. Ooh. Actually, now this needs to go over to frame 9. And so does this. Okay, so that's messed up that turnaround, but we can fix that by going to here and in the end panel changing the keyframes to match their new position. Alright, we're back to normal. Alright. Oh, let's get to work. So let's do the M shape. Do I want to isolate it? I think I do. Okay. Why isn't that working? Oh, it's because of the time offset modifier. Alright, let me try that again. Whoa, that's way too thick. No, I should probably start over here. also need this as a reference. So now we're on the F or V shape. And I think you should kind of have almost buck teeth, kind of like that. Ah, I forgot to add this thing. I need that. Leaning in too close, I'm gonna ruin my back if I keep that up. I don't want to add too much detail, but I do want to add some. Alright, this part should be fun. Because I need it kind of like that, don't I? I think that looks okay. Okay, time to colour it in. Hello Santos, nice to have you here. Today we're just going to be adding a bunch of mouth shapes, and hopefully we'll get to hand poses as well. Except for after the nostril, of course. Now, if I go into edit mode, turn on multi-frame editing, select all of those frames, including this one, deselect everything, select just that color, Control Shift down. Now everything should be at the back, right? I think so. Yeah, look at that. Cool. Now if I do the same thing, I'll turn that back on, select those frames again, deselect everything, select just the line, that red line, and I'll delete it. Lovely. Oh, I'm just realizing I forgot this. I'm just going to copy that from frame to frame. Actually, I don't want it there. Cool. Okay, now I need colors for the teeth and tongue and inner mouth. I think the inner mouth will look good with just the same color as his nostrils. Yeah, I think so. But now I need a teeth. Do I have anything already? No. Raymond teeth. It's going to be slightly off-white. Although actually, because everything's a bit in shadow, maybe a bit darker. Pardon me. Now I think his tongue should be red. Although you don't rhinos. Rhino tongue. Do they have black tongues, or am I thinking of giraffes? I must be thinking of giraffes, because that is a very pink tongue. Cool. back to multi-frame view. Again, deselect everything. But now I'm going to select all of those new materials. Put them right back at the bottom again. But of course, that still needs to be actually at the bottom. Okay, cool. I forgot to fill in the side of his teeth on that frame. Why is he like that? No, thank you. Oh, it's because I filled it with multi-frame. Oh, that's really annoying. Is there anything else that's like that? No, everything else is fine. Cool. It's just this frame. I forgot that if you fill a shape and you've got multi-frame selected, it will fill all of the selected frames at that point that you select. Well, that was worth it. Now you just have to go through each one, each view, and do it all again. Yay! Kelly, thank you again so much. Awesome work, Sketchy. Still building my Raymond. Yep, that's right. Hopefully, I don't know if we're going to finish today, but I'm thinking we're going to make a lot of progress. It should just be higher. And also, oh wait, hang on. I did this on the wrong frame. It's alright. Okay. Wait, I did this wrong. Hang on, I need to adjust the onion skinning because at the moment I was drawing the wrong view. Kelly, there's a few limitations. Basically, it just makes it slower to add new drawings, which means that if something doesn't look right and you'd like to just go into sculpt mode and just shift it into place, it'll take a lot longer because you need to manage it with the time offset modifier. But it is possible. It just depends. So it just depends on how often you think you're going to need to draw new drawings, like new frames. So that's kind of why I would always draw mouth shapes in advance, but the hands, for example, depending on how simple the character is, I might actually just leave it and I'll just draw hands really frequently, in which case I wouldn't use a time offset modifier. But if I am going to use time offset modifiers, I want to have as many hands as I possibly could to choose from, so that it's just only rarely do I have to actually go in and add a new drawing. What am I doing? Yes, onion skin. Frames ahead. No frames ahead, thank you. Because that was confusing me. Okay. What I love about grease pencil, when you don't draw a line quite right, you can always just go into sculpt mode and fix it, rather than having to redraw it every time. Right. This is the 3/4 view, right? Yes. So the teeth would be kind of here. Ooh, that was pretty bad. Sketchy. How is this superior to just mapping the image parts of a character until individual meshes of each body part and then rigging that? Do you mean like rather than using grease pencil, you like import images as planes and you like make a mesh from that? Because I would say, if that is what you're asking about, then I would say the superiority of this method. Right, yeah. So then I would say it depends on what you're going for. If you want like a really painterly style, you probably can achieve it with grease pencil, but that probably would be the best way to go, to just import images. And that gives you some other benefits as well, like you've finally got shape keys, whereas you don't really have that in grease pencil. That sort of thing. But I think the advantage of this is by having it all in Blender, you can draw things really quickly. I also think that it's just gonna, for more vector art style, it's nice to have it inbuilt into the rig. Also, when everything's vector art like it is with grease pencil, it's easier to, like, you can be more dramatic with warping it with like vertex groups and other rigging techniques, whereas with meshes it's a little bit more limited in my opinion. I guess it depends on what you're going for, but basically it just all depends on the art style. Sometimes it absolutely is the better way to go, to just import images that you've already painted. Actually, I don't know how I like that. Let's try that again, because I think it should be more like this. If I want to learn how to make a 360 rig, would it be enough to just watch the Raymond videos? Yeah, probably. Well, yeah. I pretty much did everything on stream. Might also want to, because it's my second rig, I moved quite quickly, so you might also want to take a look at the live streams I did for the last character. But yeah, I think you could probably figure it out, depending on how familiar you are with Blender. Because I forgot to enable screen capture keys. Let me do that now. Because I'm moving quite quickly, you might not know what I'm doing all the time if you're not already familiar with Blender. But if you got reasonably familiar with Blender, then I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to figure it out. Though I might be forgetting something important. Kelly, this might be. I don't know. Depends on how much we get done. Actually, maybe not. Because I think I do want to do another stream where I just do an animation. Kind of like what we did last stream, but a bit more in-depth. However, it won't be the last video with Raymond. After I finish this character and I do a little animation, I've already started on a more condensed tutorial on how to do a 360 rig, and I go over two methods for doing it. So you're gonna see that, and then I'm probably gonna, I might make another video here or there. Like, I want to make a video on why and how I switched to Linux, but aside from that, I think after my tutorial, I'm gonna start making something that's a bit more creative, a bit more fleshed out, rather than just like one character that's experimenting with something new. I'd rather, at this point, make something a bit larger. I'm using Grease Pencil 3. I really like the new features. I feel like it just makes it all so much more useful. Have I streamlined the process even more since I started this series? Probably in small ways. Like, I don't know if you've ever done something that's like really repetitive. You quickly figure out the fastest way to do it. But I don't know if there's like anything in particular that I'd say, oh yeah, I'd do that differently. Yeah, it's super smooth weight painting. Now I know you do rigging, so I was just going to say there's 2 bugs that might trip you up that aren't fixed yet. I hope they'll fix it soon though. Yeah, that's interesting. I honestly I haven't done a lot of weight painting in Grease Pencil 3, so I should look into that. Moving strokes to other layers causes them to lose parenting, and strokes inside groups that have hidden masks will distort when editing. Strokes inside groups that have masks. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've come across that yet, but that's definitely something to look out for. What are the major cities in Auckland? In New Zealand. Sketchy. The one I'm living in right now is the biggest city in New Zealand is Auckland. Then there's the capital city, Wellington, which is actually the 3rd biggest. Then there's the city I just moved up from, which is Christchurch. That's the 2nd biggest. And then there are a couple others. There's like Dunedin. That's about it. Everything else is kind of smaller towns. Or rather, like, there are a few larger towns, but I wouldn't necessarily call them cities. I might have forgotten 1 or 2. Yeah. But those are the big ones. Sketchy, how did you get rid of those weird tangent lines that appear, with lines that appear at tangent angles when you fill an object with color? Did I get an email or comment about this? I think I forgot to respond though. I think that was from you. But if I, for example, I'll choose a color. Why is, oh wait, okay, I need to be on a frame. Okay. So these ones are you talking about? So these are actually really cool. If I draw a circle, but I don't quite make the lines meet, there's no way that it's going to fill in. It's just going to go, what are you talking about? There's no shapes to fill. But if you click once, and then scroll the mouse wheel until the lines come up, and you make them a length so that they actually intersect, and then you click again, it'll figure it out. It'll say, I understand. So just if you've got a bunch of lines that are messing up your fill, like for example, if we do actually have this filled in properly, just scroll your mouse wheel until they're gone, and then oh, I've got the wrong material selected. Hang on. Just double click, or if the lines are there, just scroll your mouse wheel up until they're gone, and then click. Hope that was helpful. I think also if you go into advanced, there might be a way to turn that off so that you just have to click once. But maybe not advanced. Maybe, oh wait, no, it'll be in the, yeah, advanced in the fill tool. Gap closure. Yeah, if you turn off visual aids, you should just be able to click once and it'll fill properly. Let's clean this up. It seems you weren't having trouble with those lines at all during this series, but I found them to be a real pain. Yeah, it's because I think originally when I first discovered them, they weren't on by default, and so I saw them in a tutorial, and I knew what they were, and I used them quite a lot when I first found out what they were. So yeah, I already knew what they were and how to use them, so it didn't really cause me trouble, because whenever I saw them, I just scrolled my mouse wheel to get rid of them. Lovely. Let's get some fills in here. Now I need to select all of these frames, turn on multi-frame editing, deselect everything. I'm going to select the line art, Control Alt I, or Control I, yeah. And now Control Alt down, or Control Shift down, Control Shift down. Are you drawing mouth phonemes for the lip sync sketchy? Yes, that's what I'm doing now. So I've unfortunately have to do it for every view. So hopefully it'll get easier though when I loop around to the other side, and I'll be able to copy and just flip things. Yeah. Right, now I need to select the temporary color, delete that. Okay, cool. Let's reduce this frame rate to like 12 frames per second, just so we can actually see them as we press play. Yeah. It sounds like, have you ever watched through the mouth shapes changing on a character and you can almost hear a voice because of the way that their mouth is moving? So like, for example, I hear him saying follow, follow, follow. Alright, now the side view. Where on earth did my onion skin go? Where'd it go? Did I turn it off? No. Onion skin's on. Did I turn it off in the layers? No, it's there. I'm on solid view. What happened to my onion skin? I might just try closing Blender and opening it again. I'm sure it's something I did, but... yeah. Where did my onion skin go? onion skin's enabled. I'm in solid V. Opacity's up. This is really annoying. I am in draw mode. Yeah, the keyframes are there. I'm on the right layer. It's only one layer. Is only selected. Oh, is it because... it's because I had multi... Okay, there we go. I had multi-frame editing on still. Didn't like having onion skin on for that. This is Blender in a nutshell. Yeah, exactly. It's always some really obscure setting. And it probably is working as intended. It's just, when you're not used to it, you know, it's like, why would it work that way? Why would having multi-frame editing affect the visibility of the onion skin? And I'm sure there is a good reason for it. It's just not intuitive, you know. Probably gonna be making some odd faces as I draw these mouth shapes. I feel like it's impossible not to, you know. every time I watch someone stream, or even with myself, we always go down the list in our head. Is it his? Is it that? Yeah, is it this? Is it that? Exactly, yeah. There's like 1,000 different moving parts in Blender, all interacting with each other. So you never know exactly why something is behaving the way it is. Only that it's probably not a bug. But sometimes it is. Sometimes it is just a bug. Dr. Nick, nice to have you here. Glad you could join us. Today we are drawing all the mouth shapes for Raymond the Rhino. It's done pretty well so far. Can you imagine animating in 3D where you only have to set up mouth shapes once? Oh, what a dream. I say that as if there aren't 1,000 other reasons why 3D animations are pain and really tedious. Ooh. Okay, that's fine for now. But now I need to use this temp color and draw it like that and fill that in. Oh, don't like that. Let me hide it. Yeah, that's better. I can unhide it. Lovely. How is grease pencil nowadays? Still, yeah, no, it's pretty good, really usable. I mean, it's just very unique, isn't it? You can't really do what grease pencil does with other tools, but then equally, there are certain things that are common with other tools that grease pencil can't really do. You know? Alright, now we just need to select all of those keyframes, multi-frame edit mode, select inverse selection, control shift down. Lovely. Now we can deselect and select the temp fill color. Beautiful. And these transitions look good. Yep, sounds good. Alright, time to get going with this one. This is going to be really interesting. I think I'm just going to copy because I don't want the, when the mouth is moving, I'm okay with the parts around the mouth kind of jiggling around a bit as the frame changes. I feel like it makes it look more natural. But I feel like the nostril should stay the same. In fact, to the point, I'm just going to pre-fill out these. Lovely. Sketchy. In Moho, do you find 360 rigs to be unnecessary and a big waste of time? I feel like I used to be. When I was using Moho 11 and Moho 12, or rather Anime Studio 11 and Moho 12, yeah, probably. Because I think, in my experience, the more you allow your character to turn, the harder it is to make the character actually look good at all of those angles. Like, it'll turn really smoothly, but unless you've got a super simple design, it's going to be really hard to actually make it look appealing at every single one of those angles. However, I think it was Moho 13 or Moho 14, they introduced Vitruvian bones, which basically allows you to switch between two different rigs for an individual element. So like the arm could switch from one rig to another, which on one hand is really cool if you like want a character who can transform their arm into, I don't know, some sort of appendage, and you want different rigs for each thing that they can do. Kind of like that character in Treasure Planet, who's got that robotic arm and can do all sorts of things. But I think that could also be really helpful to basically have one rig for the front view, and you might have like a little bit of a turn, because it's still nice to have that really smooth turning ability, but you kind of limit it so that you can still have an appealing character and it doesn't take months to rig. And then you do the same thing for the next view on a different like set of bones for the Vitruvian rig, and you just keep doing that for all the views, and then you can kind of set up, you know, if you've got 8 different directions that they can look, you've got like an 8 different rigs that are all in one rig. You don't have to like switch them out. So I think it depends on what you mean by a 360 rig, because I think what a lot of people using Moho think the ideal rig looks like is something where you've just got one bone that you can just turn, and the whole character just smoothly turns as if it's a 3D character. And at that point, just use 3D, you know? You didn't know Vitruvian bones could do that? I mean, don't take my word for it. I've never actually used the Vitruvian bones to make a 360 character, so there might be limitations. I have no idea, but I would suspect it would work more or less. But yeah, I think what is overrated and a waste of time is spending weeks and weeks rigging a character so that has all the features that you could possibly want, and then you never actually use any of those features, because actually what you need is just something that allows you to make the image on the screen look the way that you want it to look, you know? I think especially with rigging, people can often get hung up on trying to make it look impressive, like spending ages making some complicated mechanism just to basically show off in some sort of tech demo and say, look at what this software can do, and look at what I can do with this software. And maybe that's a good exercise, but for an actual project, keep things simple, you know? Things should rotate and move. and switch between different drawings, and you should be good. Oh man, this is really hard to visualize what it should look like. Kinda, that should look right? Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, Sketchy, you were right. I used 2 smartphone actions to turn body 180 degrees in opposing directions. Yeah, I think 180 degrees, depending on how simple your design is for the character, I think 180 degrees is kind of the sweet spot. It's like, at that point, if you need it to go further than that, you might need just a new rig, you know, or use Vitruvian bones or whatever. But yeah, if you've got a more complicated character, maybe even just like a 90-degree turn from like this way to this way, you know, and then beyond that, you can create custom stuff. I use 2 smartphones. Okay. I really would like to come back to Blender for all my needs, but the resolution in Moho is far superior to what Blender can do. You can get some good sharp looking images using vectors in Moho. I recently saw on YouTube somewhere someone had made an add-on that basically allows you to use Grease Pencil kind of like you would use After Effects. You kind of add it just gives you more vector features. But I do see what you mean. I think that's fair enough. It depends on the visual style you're going for. I think a lot of people say that it doesn't matter what software you use, you can always make good art. And that's true, you can always make good art, but the software you use will always influence the style, you know? Like, it's up to you to make it look appealing, but the software you use is still going to make an effect. So for this character that I'm doing now, well, I kind of want everything to look nice and clean, but ultimately hand-drawn. I think Grease Pencil is actually probably better than Moho. But if you want things to look really crisp and like really almost mathematical in the way that the lines bend, yeah, no, Moho is way better than Grease Pencil, because Grease Pencil is always going to have like 1,000 dots with straight lines between them, and it's going to have sharp corners and that sort of thing. But in Moho, it's all going to be very mathematical. Mix Up, nice to see you're still around. Yes, I am. I'm a little bit back. I don't know. I've been busy and it's hard. I like streaming, but I'm gonna try and make more time for YouTube, even amidst my other obligations. But I find making a 360 character in Moho is error prone and very, very frustrating, always having to snap back to the bone layer without a hotkey. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think definitely in Moho, keeping it simple is the way to go for character rigs. And I think like the difference between the way that you rig in Moho and the way that I'm rigging now, this character, is in Moho, whether your character is in a front view or a side view, it's the same drawing. You know, it's very difficult in Moho to switch from one drawing to a different drawing that has whole different vectors. Rather, instead, you're given these amazing tools to allow you to smoothly transition the vectors from one shape to another, but ultimately it's the same vector points. And I think that can be really limiting at times. So definitely limiting how far your character turns is a good way to control that, or like mitigate any problems that might arise from that. Streaming sounds like a pain. I've done it a few times for other people. It was somewhat bothersome for my workflow. You record your work, and it's a pain to edit out the slow parts. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I don't think I've really come across that yet, but I am a little worried because I'm a little worried because I am going to make a video out of making this character, and it is going to probably take some time to edit. Luckily, the way that I make my videos, often I'm either showing like a time lapse, although yeah, actually that's a good point. I can't really show a time lapse of a live stream because of the slow parts, like you say. Yeah, but luckily I don't need to upload a time lapse. I can just say, hey, the live streams are still there. But yeah, no, I do see what you mean. I'm hoping it's not going to be too big of a problem when I get to editing. Oh no, I've done this all wrong. I've twisted his face around. Hang on, no, this is no good. Hang on. Okay, actually this might be salvageable. Yeah. Okay, wait. Are any of these other things problems? No, that should be fine. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, cool. I got confused, and even though it's the back 3/4 view, I drew it like it was the front. Sketchy, did you draw the Green Lantern artwork I've seen as your desktop background? Yes, I did. In fact, I just recently replaced it, though. Yeah, so now I've got How to Train Your Dragon up here. But if I go to display settings, go to appearance, I'll switch back. Yeah, so I drew this. I'm quite happy with it. Pretty proud of this one. Really like the way it looks. I'll leave it there for now, actually. I won't switch back quite yet. One thing I was curious about 2D rigging is how do you rig the mouth? For every angle, that seems to be the most complicated part of 2D rigging as I understand it. I know it involved drivers, but there are painfully very few materials on drivers and its applications. The best source I've found was P2 Designs' rigging, but it's not enough. Yeah, that's a good question. I've never really rigged 3D mouths. Cause yeah, that's a lot. Well, I guess I did once, but it was kind of janky. For 2D though, I would keep it really simple and just use a time offset modifier. Just draw the mouth shapes that you need and just use a simple time offset modifier, and then you just need one driver to set that up. I don't know you're a Green Lantern fan, Sketchy. I am. I've been a Green Lantern fan as long as I can remember. Oh, have you seen the film Green Lantern First Flight? It's animated. So good. Lovely times. And also the Green Lantern the animated series, the 3D one. It's also really good. It's a great art. I envy your art style. Thank you very much. It makes up for me. It means a lot to me. But yeah, I appreciate it. The 3D one didn't last that long though. I think it's 2 seasons. Yeah. It would be nice if it lasted longer, but I understand. You know, nothing. All good things must come to an end, right? Yeah. Seemed like it came and went really fast. Yeah, I think just recently I was rewatching it because when it first came out, I was still living in Afghanistan, and so we didn't have any legal access to any sort of stuff, so we just pirated everything that we had. So we've still got the digital files, and so I was rewatching that series the other day, and I was like, oh, that's so good. And yeah, I pretty much finished it within like a week, but by the way, did you get a chance to see Dead Sound's animation yet? Oh, was that the dinosaur one? Yeah, that looked really cool. I didn't see a lot of it, but I did look it up, and I checked some of it out. It looks really cool. What's really interesting is you look at an individual image of it, and it looks like a 2D artwork, but then you actually play the animation, and it's like, oh, that's clearly 3D. But yeah, no, I really like the art style. It looks really cool. Yeah. Saint Walker, yes. Absolutely. No, that's the same for me. The reason I drew the background that I did, the desktop background, was partly because I just love Saint Walker so much, but also just because the orange and blue color scheme works really well. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I couldn't. Like, what's interesting for me is I really like the concept of the Green Lantern Corps, and that's why it's always been my favorite. But if you were to ask me about a specific character, I'm like, I don't know, Hal Jordan, he seems alright, but he's a bit, at times he can be a bit arrogant. Guy Gardner's even worse. Jon Stewart seems cool though, but I haven't seen a lot of him. Kyle Rayner, he actually does seem cool. I'd be interested in reading some more about Kyle Rayner. Did I see the 2011 Green Lantern movie? Yeah, I did. I saw it probably about the same age, honestly, when it came out, or maybe I might have been a bit younger. But I was so excited because I was like, "Oh, look at this, a live action Green Lantern movie! That's so exciting!" But I don't know, it wasn't very good. Not compared to the animated ones. The animated ones feel like they were written by people who know the comics, whereas that didn't, you know. Oh, I just remembered a video I made and put on my channel ages ago. Yeah, look at this. One of my first animations right here. It's Green Lantern. Oh, so bad. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh my goodness. That's something and a half. So yeah, I think the Ryan Reynolds movie was better than this one that I made at 8 years ago. Oh. They couldn't get away from the lure of product placements and a cheap plot. Yeah, exactly. I remember when they first introduced Kyle Rayner character back in the 1990s, Hal Jordan went crazy and killed almost all the Lanterns, and Kyle Rayner was chosen by Ganther to replace him. I don't think I've actually read that storyline, but I am vaguely aware of that. Yeah, no, it seems really cool. And yeah, no, I really like, because they've kind of written Hal Jordan to be like the ultimate Green Lantern, because obviously Green Lanterns are powered by their willpower. And so Hal Jordan's clearly, if he was able to wipe everyone out, had a lot of willpower. And then also, I'm pretty sure he recovered from his madness by sheer will as well. It's better than 99.9% of the rest of the population can do. Don't be ashamed of your work like that. I don't know if the percentage that is that high, but I see your point. And also, it was 8 years ago. Like, if I did that now, I would do a lot better. And so you can't be a good animator without first being a really, really bad animator. Actually, it was a lot more convoluted than that. He died fighting a Sun Eater and became the Spectre, and in a convoluted story by Jeff Jones, was brought back to life. Oh yeah, no, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, no, that was cool. Man, it's fun to nerd out about Green Lantern on a live stream. Good times. Last year. Oh, where is it? I read Blackest Night by Jeff Jones. It's by Jeff Jones, yeah. Really good one, that one. Oh, and the art. Oh my goodness. So incredible. Can you see? I don't know if you can see that well, but let me have a look. Yeah. Oh, such good artwork. Okay. Anyway. Still impressive what you managed to do. I only started doing a little animation when I was much older. I'm not really good at it either. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. I feel like I'm really harsh on my older self, or not, I guess former self. I am now older than I was. But back in the day, I'm really harsh on myself. Like when I see someone who's just started animation and their animation is still kind of bad, I'm like, that's great, that's awesome, because it means you're doing something, and you can't get better at it unless you're bad at first. So it's awesome, and I think, yeah, that's great. But then I look at my own work when I was at a similar stage, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know what you saw in yourself. You should have never become an animator. And then I think about, no, I'm proud of what I'm making now. So actually, that doesn't make any sense, because if that terrible animation that I made then led to where I am now, then of course he should have become an animator. He knew what he was doing. It's extremely convoluted. Yeah. I feel like any time a comic book character has to be resurrected, it's like, maybe it would have been better if, there was some resolution and they just stayed dead. But I don't know. I should probably read that storyline so that I can judge whether it's whether the convoluted aspects are a good choice. If you can draw like that, I'm surprised you didn't have a run as a DC artist, Sketchy. Oh, thanks. Well, maybe one day, Oh, how fun would it be if Warner Brothers decided, let's do another animated Green Lantern movie, and I got to work on it. Oh, wouldn't that be lovely? Blackest Night was super convoluted. It was. Yeah, no, I think especially when I bought it because I'm a fan of Green Lantern, but it involves like every character that's ever existed in the DC universe, and so I'm like, oh, I don't really know how how they fit into the story, but I think they still did a pretty good job at like making it make sense, more or less. You remember Necron was the big bad, but I remember the storyline being well drawn, but a bit chaotic mess story-wise. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I feel like with Darkest Night, they were definitely going for this climactic storyline that was bringing lots of different storylines from different series, like different comic books were kind of converging on this. And so if you're not really familiar with all of those storylines, it's going to be really confusing. And even if you are familiar with all the storylines, it's like, how are they able to fit all of the key points from all these different storylines into one book? And yeah, probably a bad choice to write your story, like your overall story arc, what needs to combine all these things. But considering that they had to combine all those things, I think they did a good job. They should probably write it off as a tax exemption like they did with the last Looney Tune animation movie. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I feel like a lot of studios kind of do that these days. They just write it off. But then, in order for it to be a write-off, it needs to lose money. I don't want it to lose money. If they make a new Green Lantern movie, I want it to be good. I want them to invest in it, at least in the story. I'm okay with them, keeping the animation cheap, but Yeah, I want them to want it to do well and to market it and for people to watch it and enjoy it. I don't know. It'd be cool. I am kind of excited though to see that new Superman movie with Guy Gardner. I don't know. It might be cool. Right. Oh, I must have missed something. Because the F E R O U and then a blank. Hang on. No. I must have missed something. Smile. I forgot the L. Okay, so this should be the last one, and then I have to go through and copy them all for the other views. That shouldn't be too hard. That should be alright. Let's see how that looks. Let's make sure it looks good in context though. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looking good. I think we've been... Surely not. Surely we haven't been live for 2 hours. It is 3 o'clock. It's 3:30. Okay, I guess we have been live for 2 hours. Oh well. Ah, thank you, Kelly. Much appreciated. Right. Let's do this one. I mean, this is the back view, right? Yeah, it is. When is he realistically ever going to be speaking from this angle, right? Do we even need to do it? Yeah, we do. Your whole turnaround is captured in a pose library? Yeah, that's kind of the point of using time offset modifiers, because for my last character, I just set it up with where basically every time the grease pencil drawing changed, it wasn't because of anything in the rig, it just happened to line up in the timeline like that, and then I would just animate it so that it would always line up and look good. But the downside of that is you can't store those changes of grease pencil drawings in the pose library. So that's why I'm using the time offset modifier for this character. Is it easy to rig a head to rotate independently from the body? Yes. So actually, so this is, in the past, I would have probably used like the action constraints that I've used before. But basically, let's say I go off to some distant frame, I select all the bones, and I say, I'm going to choose this pose. Oh, why did that not update properly? Oh, of course. I've adjusted. So just ignore it if the mouth doesn't look right when I do this, because it's set to have its custom property. Yeah. Anyway, my point is I can kind of just double click and it applies a new pose. But if I just want to rotate the head, for example, like you were saying, I just select the bones for the head, and then I can choose a whole different angle. Now again, ignore the fact that the mouth is really messed up. That's just because we're setting up new mouth poses. I haven't applied that to the pose library, so it's not actually a problem. That's fine. Hi, Wong Ren. Nice to have you here. I'm glad you could join us. Impressive mouth animation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's what we've been doing today, this live stream. It's been... Yeah, it's taken us 2 hours. Wow, okay. Man, rigging is time consuming. making animation takes time. Yeah, that's true. And sometimes you have time to finish a project, and so you can really take the time and enjoy animating. And other times, you're in a rush, you need to finish it quick. And suddenly the fact that animation is so time consuming no longer is an enjoyable fact. Does that look good? Yeah, it kind of does. Actually, I might undo what I was just doing there. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. That's gonna look kind of like that, right? From that angle. almost there. I don't know how to deal with this part. Okay, I'll figure it out. But there should be some sort of teethiness. Since drawing stills is easier than animation sketchy, do you think you could keep up with workflow on a 100-issue run of Green Lantern? Oh, probably not, honestly. And that's not because I think comic book artists draw more than animators. I think definitely if I was a real animator, no, I mean, if I was a traditional animator, yeah, I think I could probably keep up with a comic book schedule. But because I really focus on cutout animation, both in my YouTube work and my professional work, it kind of means that I've never needed to be as fast at drawing as real animators. So I should say as frame by frame animators. So even though I can draw reasonably fast, maybe faster than the average like illustrator who or maybe someone who's illustrating children's books or that sort of thing, I could probably draw faster than the average illustrator. I think animators and comic book artists probably are way faster. I might adapt though. I think ultimately the thing that would hold me back is the fact that I don't really want to be a comic book artist. Like, I like don't get me wrong, sounds fun, but really I want to be an animator. Okay, so now that we're on the other side, I should be able to just flip these, right? Using the multi-frame editing tool. Yeah, looks right. Oh, why does that look? No. Did I overwrite a keyframe? I must have. I need these. There we go. Lovely. And now I need the side view. would I do a short 12-issue mini-series as a comic artist? Maybe one day. Because obviously, like you say, drawing a still will take longer than drawing for animation. But overall, making a comic would take way less time than making a short film or the pilot episode for a TV show or something like that. So if I ever reach a point where I really want to make a project, but I don't want to spend all the time to actually make like a full animated thing, yeah, I might do a short comic book series. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to reach that point because I just love the process of animating so much. So I might decide, actually, I'd rather just do exactly what I'm doing. Like, make smaller projects, make projects that don't need as much prep work, as it were. And the trade-off for that is I just have to not finish as many big projects and the like. What fight scene between Green Lantern and a chosen villain would you want to draw most? That's a good question. I mean, obviously, I've already done Saint Walker and Lovelace, and that's a classic. But I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Let me think about that. Here's the thing. I think Guy Gardner, right? I don't like him as a character. He's like really arrogant and stubborn, which I think does make for good stories potentially, but he's just not my favorite character. However, I do really like his design. Like the vest, rather than just like skin tight spandex all over, it's like, no, there's a cool design there. He's got a big vest and a chunky belt. It's got an off-center logo, so I think I would like to draw him. But who would he be fighting? Maybe Atrocitus? Because I know that at one point Guy Gardner gets a red ring. Because he's quite angry. So yeah, maybe I'd show him fighting Atrocitus and link it into the story somehow that way. That'd be fun. Maybe I should do that next. Green and red, is that a good color scheme? Yeah, could work. I mean, you can make anything work if you make things desaturated enough, you know. Right, what am I doing next? I'm doing the 3/4 view. That's this one. And finally, just this one. You like Guy Gardner, especially his series Guy Gardner Reborn. I don't think, maybe I'm being unfair on Guy Gardner, because I haven't actually read any comics from his character. I basically only know him from the movies and TV shows that I've watched with him in it. And like, I think he's a really interesting character. I just don't know if I like his personality. But then, of course, what is his personality? That will depend on who's writing for him, you know? So maybe I haven't given Guy Gardner a fair shot. Now that that's like that, I want to move that in front of his little collar. Yeah, that looks better. Cool. Now one thing I need to do is right now the time offset modifier is just a simple driver that just takes this value and plugs it in. However, I don't want it to look like that. What I actually want is the first one to be the angle that it's looking at, and then I want a new custom property called mouth shape. Set that to an integer. It should be between 0 and 7. Okay, yeah, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, okay, 0 and 7, beautiful. Oh, it didn't save the property I put in, so I should call that mouth shape. Array mouth shape. Okay, so now if I right click on this new, I realized my camera was covering a lot of that, but basically I just added a new custom property called mouth shape. If I right click on the custom property and say copy data path rather than copy as new driver, and then on the mouth object, on the time offset modifier, I edit the driver. So now I'm going to say scripted expression as the type. I'm going to create a new input variable that's going to be called mouth shape. That will be from the, oh no. No. From the armature for Raymond, and then I just paste in that data path. And then in the expression up here, oh again, how much of this are you seeing? Let me start over. Because again, okay, let me remove that. Okay, that's all good. Okay, and actually that should be average value, I think. Okay, let me try that again. I'll open up OBS and I'll move my camera up here. Oh, why is that? Oh, that's my bad. Some of it's being cropped out as well, which is not ideal. Okay. I'll move that over here for now as well. Okay, here we go. So this is cool. So I've added a new custom property. I right click on it, I say copy data path. Then on the mouth shape, on the time offset modifier, I'm going to edit the driver, set the type to scripted expression, add a new input variable, which I'm going to call mouth shape. Which is going to reference the armature for Raymond, and then I'm going to paste in that data path. And then in the expression, I'm going to, what expression is this? Basically, I just need to add them together, right? Yeah. Okay, so plus mouth shape. Okay, cool. I need to enable it as well. Okay, cool. Is that? No, wait. It needs to be multiplied by 7 because that's how many drawings there are. So I need to edit driver. So I need to say this first value multiplied by 7 plus the mouth shape. And basically that'll mean that the first custom property. Oh, why you like that? Oh, because that's multiplied by 7. Oh, that's really annoying. Okay, hang on. I need to edit this custom property so that rather than going, I need to have a minimum of 0 and a default value of 0. Okay. Why? Okay, I think I need to add 1. No. I just need to change the mouth shape so that it goes from 1 to 8. Okay. Oh, no, that's not working. Why isn't that working? Why? No, it's all offset. Hang on, I've done my maths wrong. He sucks in the new Superman movie, but the Guy Gardner but in Guy Gardner Reborn, Hal kicks him out of the Green Lantern Corps, and he has to get a yellow power ring by defeating Sinestro. That does sound like an interesting storyline. I would be interested in reading that, actually. Why does he get kicked out? For being Guy Gardner, I guess. You know, he's that sort of guy. Maybe you could rig the neck and collar and belt area to curve, create a fake perspective angle to him. Yeah, I probably could. I could probably do that. Maybe with a lattice, that would be cool. Yeah, I might add that. Maybe later. Sketchy, when will you make this rig available for purchase so we can study your work? I will never make it available for purchase. However, when my video comes out, my plan is to make this rig just freely available. You'll be able to download it. How many hours did you take to animate this? So, today, it's probably been almost 3 hours now. Wait, it's 5, 4, 3, it's almost 4 o'clock. I start about 1:30. So yeah, I can't do any maths right now in my head. Hang on, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. So 2.5 hours today, and that's just been doing lip syncing. Okay, let me rethink this expression. I need the first value. Okay, let's just change these settings back so it goes from 0 to 7 again. That's what I want. And this one back to, no, that's right. I probably do want that. No, maybe I want it to be 1. Okay. So the expression that I want, let me try and, I did something similar the other day, and I found drawing out a diagram to be really helpful. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. So we have 2 properties. We have x and y, let's say. And let's say x equals 1, and for now y equals 0. Now at the moment, the keyframes for this grease pencil object are... I should have paid attention. That's okay, I've got them here. On frames 1, 9, 17, 25, etc. So I need the output, let's call it Z, needs to kind of look like this, or not like this. Okay. If this is Y, when it's at 0, no, when it's at, no, this is X. When it's at 0, 1, 2, 3, I need the Z output to be, wait, no, it should go from 1, it should go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So this will go from frame 1 to 9, 17, 25. 9, 17, 25. Basically like that. He and Hal have a fist fight and they decide the loser has to quit the core and Guy loses. Okay, that's an interesting way to decide things. But I guess that makes sense. Because, yeah, Hal and Guy, they're not big fans of each other, are they? Okay. So, what is 9 divided by 2, basically? 9 divided by 2, it's 0.75. What about 17 divided by 3? Oh, why is it different? I might need the Desmos calculator. This is way more complicated than it should be. I should just, should be able to just figure this out. Okay. Z is equal to X plus Y. Okay. So confused. Actually, this isn't helping. I should just be able to figure this out. Hang on. What equation turns a 1 into a 1, a 2 into a 9, a 3 into a 17? Is this all caused because everything's starting on frame 1? Like, maybe I just need to move everything back 1 frame, and that'll solve everything for me. Like, now I can just go to here, because now it's just 0. Yeah, it should just be a multiplication now, right? Because for frame, is it just 8? I just need 8. it's because it's still 9. It's at the 0. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I've got it now. I gotta get rid of these. Okay. Oh. Oh, wait, no, I shouldn't have done that. I just need to get rid of this thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Groovy. And in fact, I might have already fixed by doing that. Well, no, okay. That's alright. I still have to replace the pose library, that's fine. But basically, now I can decide what angle the mouth displays with this slider, but what shape it displays with this slider. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I think I might still have a... No, it's fine. Cool. Alright. I'm going to come back in a bit. I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm just going to leave you here with Raymond staring at you like this. Or just to leave you something fun to watch. Let me... Oh no. Alright. Let's leave it. Alright, I'll be back. I'm back. Oh, sorry about that. It's quite a rig sketchy. Yeah, it is, but it's kind of exploding in complexity. I was hoping it was going to be simple, but actually, I should have known. How do you make the forearms overlap the pot belly when outside of the resting pose? This is clearly all behind the air. Ah, yes. Okay, so everything is on its own object. So I'll rotate this and I'll rotate like this, and then I just move it in the y-axis, right? So it's just physically moving it in front of the belly. So now that looks like that. Yeah, that sort of thing. Do you make kid-friendly animation or adult animation? I could make animation for both. Yeah, I don't really have a preference, honestly. I really enjoy working on both. I feel like with kid-friendly stuff, it can well, I guess it depends on what you mean by adult animation. I'm assuming you just mean animation aimed at adults. I feel like with more grown-up animation, you can have more interesting themes in the stories. But actually, you can still have interesting themes for children as well. So yeah, I don't really have a preference. I think both are good. Both have their advantages. Is that really how the professionals do it? No, it's not. The professionals don't use Blender, not for 2D animation. But yeah, sort of. I mean, like in Toon Boom, that's how you do it. Like in there's an easier shortcut to do it for the like on the keyboard. But yeah, no, you just shift it physically in front, and it'll change the view order. And so that's why I'm trying to emulate in Blender by having it set up like this. All right. I was hoping to do some hand poses as well today, but that kind of took a long time. So I think I'm going to not. I think that's all we're going to do today. Let me just shift that in front a bit. Okay. There we go. Hello. Hello. Alright. Oh, and this is the wrong view as well. There we go. Sketchy, you may be the first person to ever make a real 360 rig in grease pencil for cutout animation. I don't think that's true. I think Tiny Nick, if I look him up, he's got a bunch of videos. Well, if I'll show you here, so you can see he's set up quite an interesting. I think he's using an add-on that he made. So you can go. You mean from Tiny Media? Yeah, exactly. So if you want to check out his method, I think it's a bit different than mine. And I think it might be only limited to like humanoid characters, but I might be wrong there. But yeah, no, it's really cool what he's done. I think if you wanna, it suits his add-on that he's made for this, suits his needs really well. So that's great. Anyway. They kept that process a secret. I don't know if it's a big secret. I don't think they live streamed, making a rig or anything, but I think the add-on that he uses is open source, so you can download it from his GitHub page and try and figure it out. I don't think he's made any tutorials on how to use it, but I'm sure you can get the hang of it. Yeah, they never explain the process like I do, but yeah, I think that's the tricky thing, right? It's like, how much time do you dedicate to showing people the cool things you've discovered, and how much time do you dedicate to just making the fun project that you want to make? Because on one hand, it feels almost rude not to tell people when you come up with something cool. But at the same time, it's like, if you spend too much time explaining the cool technology you've developed, you never actually make anything cool. You know? Alright, I think that's going to be it for today. I'm just going to reset where my camera is. And this guy's going to move over here. Lovely. Alright, have a lovely day, everyone. I will see you around.